I built Jotaro from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure out of Lego, and in this video I'll show you exactly how I did it because figures are expensive. And I'm flat broke. To start, I'll be looking at the color scheme. If I don't have enough bricks in a certain color, I'll use another similar color instead. This will save me a lot of headaches later on when I inescapably find out I don't have enough pieces to finish the build in the color that I started with. To do this though, I first need to know the color scheme of the thing I'm building. And even if I get the shape of the build right, not using the right colors will make it look like it was made by a 3-year-old. I'm basing my build on the Jotaro from the Part 3 Stardust Crusaders anime. Looking at the design from Part 3, the most prominent colors are black for his coat, olive green for his shirt, and gold for the details on his uniform. This is not a huge detail, but his belt is yellow and orange, so I'm going to include that too. Oh, and I'm using tan for his skin color. Next up, I'll start sketching out my ideas for the build. Not with paper and pen, but with Lego bricks. The most important and complex part of a lot of characters is the face, so of course I decided to completely ignore that for now. Instead, I'll focus on the shape of the head. I already built a figure for another character from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which coincidentally also doesn't have a face, so for the sake of consistency, I want to build Jotaro's head in the same style as his. Starting with the head gives me a good idea for the proportions for the rest of the build. If I did it the other way around, I would have probably turned out with either a tiny head and a huge body, or a Funko Pop. After this, I wanted to build Jotaro's arms, though I didn't really know where to start. With my other figure I used these round pieces to build up his shoulders, but because Jotaro's shoulders aren't exposed, that wouldn't work well in this case. So I thought it'd be a good idea to move on to analyzing the characteristics. When I'm using a reference, I try to figure out the most important characteristics of the thing I'm building. So in other words, what makes Jotaro, Jotaro? First of all, he's got massive shoulders. This is something unique to the characters from the first 3 parts of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Araki, the mangaka behind JoJo's, explained in an interview that he wanted the silhouettes of the main characters to be easily distinguishable. To do this for Jotaro, he gave him his iconic cap and the gold chain hanging from his uniform. In the meantime, I've come up with a way to make his arms, which is using these black dish pieces for his shoulder. I come up with this design, which uses a rod to connect the dish piece to the rest of the arm. Second up was the torso. I found this green hood for a car, which turned out to be the exact shape I was looking for. Since I decided I wanted to use these dish pieces for his shoulders, I had to model the entire torso around these rods, which made building way more difficult than it needed to be. Though in the end, it turned out looking quite decent. For his legs, I started off with a combination of hinge pieces and ball joints and built around that. I also added a small piece that would overlap with his torso to make the belt he's wearing. And finally, where his legs meet his torso, I used a snap bracket to connect the back of his coat. Now, if you're enjoying this video, I would like to ask you to consider leaving a like, comment, or even subscribing. Every subscriber gained puts some fuel into the dying flame. That is my motivation. Anyway, let's move on to the money shots. Oh, and before you leave, if you like playing video games, watch this video where I build a stone talus from the Breath of the Wild sequel trailer.